Hey guys, it's Becky.
And Will. And not Billy this time, actually.
I thought that you were going to say Billy. I was like, do it.
I know, right? That's what you guys are used to hearing, but
Yeah,
not today. Not today.
Today, our partners in crime are chilling.
Yes, we won't tell you exactly where, but they are in a warm place.
Yeah.
Strolling on the beach, enjoying it. Yep. So, anyway.
So you get us.
Yeah.
So, Will, what are we going to talk about today?
We're going to talk about the Rise Business Conference.
Yeah, so who knows about the Rise Business Conference?
Man, I hope everyone does.
I do too.
Because if you don't, it's a shame because it's so good.
Yeah, if you don't know about it, like, don't just take what we tell you. Like, if you can go.
Yes, yeah.
If you can't go, like...
We're going to tell you a whole lot about it.
We're going to tell you a whole lot about it.
Yeah.
Well, not all the things today.
No.
But
there's
all
just
the
so
things
much.
eventually.
Yeah. So we'll have a
There's a
series
lot.
of these, right?
Yeah.
Conversations that we're going to have with you guys just to provide a ton of content.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I think like if you're okay with it, like let's just dive in. Well, first off, we probably want to talk about how this is.
But wait, let's talk about like what is Rise?
Yeah,
it's a
that's
business
where
conference.
I was headed.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah. There you go. There.
So,
I'll let her lead. She's much better at it.
So what I was thinking was after the Business Boutique conference, then Billy and I came back and gave all kinds of good information, and Will and I actually ended up going to the Rise conference, and we had a special guest that was with us too.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So our son went with us. So maybe we'll be able to pull him in and tell you a little bit about his thoughts too.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, our 21-year-old son had that because most folks look at us and think that like we bring a son, it's like or like our kid or 10-year-old baby. No, our 21-year-old man was with us.
Yeah. So so let's just dive right in.
Yeah, let's do this.
Rise Business Conference. Yep. This is kind of their information, and so I think how we really got started on like the Rise, how we even heard about it was just following Rachel Hollis and her. I think I started following her just by her book, right? The Girl Wash Your Face, and so she has a lot of different like avenues, I'll say, to connect with her. If you don't already, what are you waiting for? Well, wait until we're done here.
Yeah.
And then
don't jump there yet.
Yeah. But so I would say like I don't know, for me, like I really just enjoy like it's now her and her husband are doing this together, and she started out really just kind of blogging, I think actually is how she got started.
She started, well actually her original start from what I understood, what she said was she was doing wedding kind of.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
coordinating
that.
Weddings, that sort
back
of
in
thing.
The day.
Yeah, then went into blogging.
Yep.
And then, so she tried a bunch of different business ventures, right? Trying to find her niche and her way.
Yeah.
And then, what is it, 10 plus years later, 15 plus years later, look where she's at, right? So it's, that'll be, we'll dive into like her story.
A little bit more about that too.
Right? But, you know, again, I think a lot of people see her as like an overnight success.
Yeah.
But she really showed us that it was a ton of intentional.
Absolutely.
You know, I think opportunities of growth, etc. That led her there.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
So I don't know, like for us, like we've always gone like to separate conferences.
Yeah.
Like I've gone to, I don't know, yoga conference, leadership conferences, whatever it may be. And then Will's always gone to different conferences too.
Yep.
But
this is like our second one.
Yeah, we hadn't really gone together. Yeah. So
and last year we pulled off two.
We did.
Yeah, this is the second one.
The John Maxwell Coaching
back in August.
Summit.
Yep.
And then we did the Rise Business Conference. So I don't want to say that I'm a snob when it comes to conferences, but I kind of enjoy it. But I have to tell you guys, this was my favorite ever.
Yeah, I would agree.
Ever.
I think the speakers, the content, like the design, everything, and even for, you know, like I think for those that I think follow Rachel know that, you know, kind of really she caters to women.
Yep.
And I was a little, you know, skeptical coming in. I'm like, oh, this could be interesting. And frankly, like I think the women to guy ratio was, you know, obviously on the women side.
Definitely more.
But it definitely was relevant, and there were a ton of guys there with their spouses. So it was really cool to experience that, because it really was probably one of the better leadership conferences that I've ever been to.
You know, but I have to say, like, there's many of these conferences, like women conferences, that there's like a couple of guys. Like, no, there was a lot of guys there.
Yeah.
Definitely more girls, but a lot of guys. And the other thing was, this one was in Charleston, which is one of our favorite places to go. So of course we wanted to go check it out.
Yeah.
So today what we're going to do is we're just going to dig into, like, really, I'm not even going to say day one, because this is not everything that we learned on day one.
That's right.
It's more about, like, just kind of the introduction. And there's so much content that we really want to kind of just break it down for you guys and share, like, all the things that we learned. I do want to say this, like, right out of the gate. It is a business conference. However, there is so much that she talked about from a personal level of, like, you've got to get yourself, like, you know, like, you got to work on you before you can even remotely think about working on your business.
Exactly.
So what we talked about, and maybe you can elaborate a little bit more on this, but throughout this kind of like series, you're going to hear us talk a little bit about business and
how you can apply it also on the personal side, right? So I think because we want to impact both, right? Those business leaders who are trying to, you know, really kind of maximize the performance of their businesses, but at the same time, you know, I think this all applies, right, to individuals and in their lives as well. So you'll see kind of how there's a ton of parallels, whether you're in business or whether you're just trying to, you know, figure out personal growth. So that'll be really cool. And with every one of these, we're going to leave you with like 4 key learnings, right? Just as, you know, we are forward progress, right? In forward progress form, we're going to give you 4 key learnings. And today we're going to give you 4 key learnings of this conference that we walked away with.
How many again?
4.
All right. So let's start out by saying, like, this conference, like I said, day one, it's in, like, what was the arena that it was in? Do you even remember?
I don't remember the arena.
I don't remember the name of it, but like, it's like concert hall.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like
it's pretty big. It was pretty
big.
She had about 6,000.
Was it that many?
Yeah, it was about 6,000.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't remember like the specifics, but there's a lot of people. Yeah, a lot of people. And we had got to sit on like the floor, but I think we kind of downgraded ourselves like throughout the week because
we're short people. We needed to kind of get a little elevated to see.
I'm not short. You're short. Okay, I might be a little bit short. But yeah, I couldn't see, so I was like, "Can we go over there?" And they're like, "You know, that's a downgrade." And I was like, "You know, I can see better."
But sometimes you have to downgrade to upgrade.
Oh,
right?
that's
like
good.
That.
I like that. So the very first thing that she did, she really just kind of like came out and introduced herself. And then the very first thing she was talking about, like, look, this is going to be long and this is going to be hard for us to like stay focused. So how we're going to do that is like we're going to have like constant times to move. And she talks about this, if you follow her at all, she talks about this all the time. Just like in order to change your mind, you have to move your body. And there's a lot of research. Like I told Will, I was like, we could go on and on and on
like
about
not today, because you can do a whole session on just that. Right? So.
But like the research says that like as you move your body, you physically are moving your mind and you're changing your mind. So
there was a lot of that, like a lot of that, and even like it's kind of funny, like most of the guys, right, that attended. You know, like, because what that meant is it kind of like
you gotta get
So you're getting up and you're dancing, like and you know there's movement. And like the first time, you can see like the women were great. They were like, "Oh, jump in," and the guys were like, "Yeah." But by like day was it 3 or whatever, like everybody's just jumping,
like,
you know, so it was,
literally jumping up and down. Right?
So it was pretty cool. So it kind of broke you down after a while.
Yeah, it kind of got.
But it loosened you up, and I think that's cool because you can't take yourself so friggin' seriously. So I thought that was pretty cool. But anyway, change your mind.
No, it was super, super good. There's something that I was going to tell you about, like moving your body and changing your mind. Oh, what is that big horn? It's like,
that annoying, like bullhorn type thing.
I don't even know like what the horn is, but like I hear it on the TV or like the radio or something.
And she tries to get up,
and I'm like, no.
It doesn't work.
So that's the first thing, and like I said, we'll jump into a little bit more kind of the research of that as we go along. I just think that's something that's super, super fascinating. The next thing that really stood out for me was she started to kind of shift into like the business mindset. She was saying like, if you're a leader, it's your fault.
Yeah.
And I know that it's funny because we're both taking notes, which is, as I'm looking at our notes, this is really interesting to me.
I have a ton. I could show it, but it's a lot. Yeah.
And I just have a little, which is so unlike the two of us, like generally speaking.
She's got like half the page full. I've got the full page.
Yeah, but most of the time, I'm the one with the full page. But I was so listening so intently that like I literally wrote down like the key points. Yeah. So she talks about though, if you're the leader, it's your fault. So that's what I wrote down. Well, what did you write down?
Well, I think, as far as like that portion of it, I mean, I think I wrote down a lot.
No, but you were telling me earlier, you wrote down the flip side of it. Like you've got the answers.
Yeah, exactly. So if it's your fault, right? So essentially, it's if you're a leader, right?
Yeah.
It is your fault, but it's also you also have the answer.
Yeah.
Right. So you are the answer, right? Which is kind of cool. And but I think that's cool because I do believe that as leaders, you always have to point the thumb at yourself versus point the finger at anyone else, right? So, and a lot of times it's so easy, especially when you're in the midst of things.
Oh yeah.
Right, to go like, what the heck
what
is
they do?
What they do? What's their problem? Versus even when someone did something that they shouldn't have done, let's just say, whether it's your kids or your employee
or your spouse
right? The question really should be like, how did I attribute to that, right? What did I do or what could I have done to avoid that? So I agree, like you're the problem, but you're also the answer.
Yeah, but I feel like this to me like comes back, and I talk about this all the time in my coaching sessions, is like, we've got to turn that mirror on ourselves because we're not capable of changing other people. We're capable of changing ourselves.
Yeah.
So I talk about that a lot. So that really stood out to me. Like it's your fault, but it's also you have the answers.
Yeah. That is actually number one on the key insights that we have, right? Is you are
tell that till the end.
The answer. So we'll give you the first one, and then you're gonna have to wait to hear the
Who is this guy coming in up like he owns this place?
But you are definitely the answer, and you've got to frankly work on you, right?
Yeah.
You got to work on you.
Yeah. That leads me to the next one. She was like, you really have to like be the best version of you. And I think this really we've always said that, and that's always been something that's been important to us. But I think what really kind of stood out to us when in that scenario was from Ed Milet, and he was there.
He was there. It was cool. He's like my favorite.
Love Ed Milet. So we can't wait to tell you a little bit more about him. Sorry, I couldn't even
No,
not
you're
go
good.
there.
You're good.
But
you stole my thunder, but go ahead.
But he has a really good scenario where he says whenever I die, I want to be able to meet the version of myself that God actually created. And he says I want to be a twin with that guy. He was like, if I am even remotely not the same, then I know that not that I've been a failure, but that I've not lived up to what God's created me to be. Yeah. And that to me is that's powerful.
And it's really maximizing the time that you have, right? To be better, become better.
Absolutely.
And really, because it's a constant journey, right?
Yeah.
You're never there. A lot of folks say hey, and you hear this all the time, right? People want to be these great successes and they want to make millions of dollars, and then it's they want to retire. Yeah. That's great if you want to retire, and there's nothing against or bad about retiring, but I hope that people don't think of retirement as I stopped growing, right? Because essentially what you're telling yourself, and there was one of my former employees told me this, that he basically kind of has in his mind about how he thinks about himself as a dad, which is you imagine coming home and saying, hey, son, daughter, this is the best you're gonna get, right? This is all. That's it. I'm not gonna get any better. I'm not gonna be a better dad. This is pretty much it, right? So think about growth or growth mindset in that way. In that, if you're really not constantly pushing yourself and looking to grow and gaining more insight, you're essentially telling the people around you and yourself that that's it. This is the best I'm ever gonna be.
Well, and I think too, I don't know, I'm gonna get a little bit vulnerable here. Are you okay with that?
Hey, it's your show. I'm just the co-host here,
You're my sidekick
the fill-in.
here. I think for me, as we've kind of gone through the last couple of years, I was really, really on this, it was important to me, and then honestly, I would say I got busy. right? And it's been so easy to say, oh, well, I'm tired, or, oh, like, yeah, I mean, I'm going to get to that. But like, I would say I haven't been the best version of myself. I don't know, the last 6 to 9 months. And not to say that I've been horrible, but like, you know.
But you have this version that you've achieved, right? And when you're not meeting that bar,
absolutely,
right? Like, that's what you're talking about, right? And I think it was the same for both of us in this past 6 to 9 months.
Yeah.
And we used excuses like,
oh my gosh,
we're busy, like, we're moving,
we got too much going on,
we're in a new
place, we don't know anybody here.
And,
like, how could we possibly go to yoga after a full day's of work? Like, come on.
Yeah, and then eventually it beats you down.
Yeah.
So then you have to do something different.
Yeah.
You would hope, right? Either that or you curl up in a ball and just kind of sit.
No, that's not gonna work for us.
No.
So prime example of that is like this morning, we literally, Saturday morning, today is Saturday, whether you're watching on Saturday or not, but, and we got up and we went to work out.
Yep.
And then
great workout.
Yeah. So we literally, and then did some
couple of errands.
Yeah. So just a super, super good day. Yeah. But it starts with like, you gotta get up and you've gotta like get busy on being that best version of you
hopefully taking care of yourself first, right?
Oh
like, take time to invest in yourself. Right?
I feel like a broken record because I say this so often, but I don't know in our society if we get it, like how critical it is to take care of you. It's just really important. Yeah. We can't help each other if we're depleted ourselves.
Yeah. So this whole idea that it's you're the problem and you're also the solution requires the work on you first.
Yeah.
You got to work on you.
Yeah. So the one thing that she like in her like she's like, you do you, boo. Like she kept saying that, you do you, boo, but make sure that you're doing you well. Yeah. Right? Like hold yourself to that really high expectation.
Exactly. And you see this a lot, right? I mean, especially if you're a leader or a mom, right? Or dad or parent, right? Like it is so easy to invest so much in others, which is great. I think that's really good, right?
Absolutely. But it's not a bad thing.
No. But you have to like take a step back and invest in yourself so that you can give more right to them, right? So it's
funny, like even like going to conferences, like I've always thought people are like, you go to conferences? Like, why? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you've already got, like, I would go to yoga conferences, but you're already certified as a yoga instructor. And I'd be like, but I can learn more. Yeah. Right? Like, I'm capable of doing more. Exactly. So I think it's, like, always kind of lifting that bar or raising that bar.
Exactly.
To know. Yeah.
Well, and it's our way, too, of investing in ourselves. Yeah. Right? And working on us, right? Yep. And then what we've done this year, though, or this past year, is did 2 conferences together for the first time. Yeah. And really, it's funny because we both have done conferences. We get all excited. We even come home and like talk to each other. We're like, oh, listen to all this stuff I learned. And then it fizzles out.
Then it's like
and you do nothing.
Well, sometimes you do a couple
things, maybe.
Okay, maybe nothing.
Yeah. But right, and then it just like you invested all that time, all that energy, all that money, and then it's done, right? And then, but this is the first time I think that both of us, right, we go to these conferences, these 2 conferences, and then we've I think have grown a ton since those conferences. We created a business. We, we've done a ton of work with our business partners. We're now evolving some of that, right? So like we've got some other ventures that we're doing. So there are all of these actions that we've taken as a result of.
In addition to our day jobs.
And actually applying some of this stuff too to our day jobs. Yeah. That frankly before we would just not necessarily kind of follow through. So I think there's power too in that we did it together.
For sure.
Right? We are able to hold each other accountable. Yep. Which is really great. And then I think there's a power in either the community and or doing this together. So we encourage you wherever possible. If you're doing some of this stuff, if you can do it in community, that's really the way to go.
Absolutely.
If you can bring your partner, because that's even that much better.
Definitely.
Because you can really challenge yourself and there's a common language that you can have with each other that you can utilize as you continue to grow.
It's true. And literally, like we had just launched Forward Progress with Billy and Richie when we went to this, and we'd already signed, Will and I had already signed up with my coaching business. But then like literally, so it was really good for us to go, but we were seriously like like do it recordings.
Yeah.
Which
like texting back and forth, like
like texting back and forth,
so
and
to our
like,
partners,
yeah,
right? To
showing
business
them
partners.
like different things. So literally, like by the end of it, we were like, no questions asked. Next year, this is on the calendar. No questions asked.
Cool.
So super good.
So listen, so we talked about you. Like, what's the next thing?
Yeah. So you talk about you, work on yourself. Be willing to work for what you want.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why do you like that so much? Tell me what this is for you.
This is for me. I think this is, and I'm like, if I'm going off script, I'm sorry. But I think
I'll rein you in.
I think for me, it's like there's a couple of things. One thing that I thought, if I could find my notes here.
Take your time. We've got all the time
in
the world.
Here's the first thing, right? Ambition. Well, there was a quote by Rachel that said, "Ambition won't get you there if you don't have drive." Mm-hmm. Right. In addition to ambition, right? So, because if you can't
read it again.
Yeah, I'll say it again. Okay. Ambition won't get you there if you don't have drive coupled actually with ambition.
Yeah.
You won't get
drive
anywhere.
And ambition.
Drive and ambition.
I totally agree.
Right.
With
So
that.
I think a lot of folks have the ambition, have the goals, have the hope.
Yeah,
have this...
like, this is what I want to do. Yeah. Like that big lofty goal. Like, oh yeah, let me get there. Yeah. But why do we fizzle out though?
Because the drive isn't there.
Yeah. So what's the drive?
And the drive is typically your why. It's not typically. It is your why.
Yeah.
So essentially, what she said was, and as we dived into it, your why is not strong enough. Yeah. Right. So if you're going after something and you feel like, and you see it fizzle out, or it's a dream that you put to the side. Yeah. Then we would ask yourselves, as kind of we learned, right, to say, hey, like, what is your why? What's your why behind it?
Yeah, and also for me, I think, so the year of 2020, one of the things that I'm really working on is, and we talk about this in our goal setter class, but is really about digging deeper and like being super intentional about like just digging deeper, understanding a little bit more. So for me, like I think about that in this scenario of if you've got like initially like all that enthusiasm, like, yeah, I'm gonna get it, and all of a sudden that fizzles out. Like for me, like I want to understand like, well, what part of that was missing? Like, is your why not deep enough? And like, how do we understand like what's really behind the why? Yeah. Like, I think it's so easy for me personally to say like, my why is to make sure like that we, the next generation is not better than us, but I do want them to
improve.
Improve.
Right? We should elevate others. Yeah.
So that's a piece of it, and I think that that's really good. But for me, it's more about breaking cycles, right? So not only do I want to make the next generation better, but my hope is that generations upon generations will be better because of the information that we're sharing, that value that we're adding. Yeah,
and that's really kind of one of the core values and missions, right? From a forward progress perspective,
Absolutely.
Right? It's helping others break the cycle.
Yeah. Be it personal kind of, baggage, we'll say, or like, the reality, guys, we pull that personal baggage into every facet of our lives, right? Whether we walk into the boardroom and say, I've got whatever the issue is, I've got this baggage that I'm pulling along with me.
It influences how you think and how you react.
Us. And So I think like just starting to like dig deeper on all of that and just understand that a little bit more. Great. Yeah, that's my why.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Cool. I love it. I know. I love it. All right. So your why, right?
Yeah. So the next one is, and I think I've kind of added all these together too. She talks about like, you got to be really good at like making things happen. And in my book, I was like, I'm really good at I'm good at hustling, right? Like,
she's a hustler.
Yeah. I'm okay to like work a lot because I see value in that, right? But also like, so I see that I can make money easily, but I also see that I can spend money easily.
Yeah, she does. At least she admits it, which is kind of cool.
True story. So for me, like what she keeps saying is like, it's really important that you start working on you first. And then through that, like you'll improve yourself, you'll improve the people around you, you'll start adding value to people around you. But then also that's when, that's how a lot of businesses are created too, of things that people have either gone through or situations like that they're trying to improve so that something maybe that they saw doesn't happen. Yeah. That one, she did a whole lot. I love this too, and I totally forgot about this, but she did a whole lot of like on the spot coaching, which I think you hear that sometimes, and I would say more often than not, that's not really coaching. There's a little bit more feedback in that, just because coaching takes a little bit longer than just a drop of feedback. But like she did a really good job to like, even in this huge auditorium, like there's times that like she was coaching somebody like way up in the rafters, like literally yelling to them, and it was so impactful.
Exactly. It was really good.
Yeah. Do you remember the one that was like right up front?
The guy up front?
Yeah. And she specifically said to him pretty much like, you got to deal with your stuff because you're trying to help people deal with the stuff that you're talking about, and you've not dealt with it yet.
So essentially,
we were all like,
oh. And then the next day, this guy literally kind of stands back up and it's like, hey, kind of I think she was asking something about like, hey, what did you learn? And he gets up, he's like,
oh yeah, this is so good.
I fired myself.
Yes.
So he essentially kind of like removed himself from the role that he was playing in his organization. And it was his own company, right? But then realized like, hey, I've got to let somebody else do this
so that I can deal with my own baggage. Right?
So it was really cool, but it was good coaching. But I think that provided the value of just mentorship, right?
Definitely.
And learning from those who have kind of gone before you.
Yeah.
And mentors, could come in a variety of different forms, right? Like a lot of people, like when I say mentors, right?
What do you automatically think of?
Oh yeah. Oh, it's kind of like, oh geez, it's this person I got to go see. That it's kind of awkward, but mentors don't have to be that, right?
I totally agree.
Mentors, can be someone who maybe is your organization sets you up with. It's someone that you seek out. It's someone you listen to. I think we've found that many of our mentors,
absolutely,
right? And we have mentors that are both like actual physical people,
but people,
a lot of your mentors can be people you listen to on podcasts, right? Like I would say Ed Milet, for example, is a mentor of mine, right? I've never met the guy, right? But I listen to him all the time. But it's about not necessarily the person you talk to all the time, but it's who you listen to, who you learn from, and who you surround yourself with can be a mentor for you too. So I thought that was pretty powerful, and a lot of our mentors actually showed up to this event. It was cool.
Which made it even more better. Better.
Much better.
Much better. But also, like, I think that goes back to a piece of the breaking the cycle too, right? If you think about it, I mean, how often as a kid did somebody say to you, like, show me your 5 people.
The best, show me the 5 people you hang around with.
Yeah. And like, I would say that it's our responsibility to both lift that up, right? To make the average of that 5 people better.
Well, and then the reality is, right? Like, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And there's so much insight you can gather from people who've had experiences that are not the same as yours. So
or just listening.
And just listening, right? Yeah. So you can learn from books. Yeah, you can learn from podcasts. You can learn a lot from people.
Definitely.
What you're trying to do though is gain insight that it gives you a different level of awareness that you didn't have before. Because hey, growing up where we've grown up, right? And the cultures that we've grown up, you don't have a lot of visibility to a lot of other things outside of those areas, right? So you're only limited to what you can see, what you can experience, and what's in front of you. But when you can expand upon that, oh, it's amazing, right? So there's so much to be learned out there, and trust me, I don't care how old you are or how young you are, there's still much more to learn.
Absolutely,
All right, so what's the next thing?
So you keep talking about these 4 things, like.
I won't say all 4. We still got one more.
Well, do you have?
I have a quote.
Okay, let's hear it.
Can we do this?
Let's hear what you got. Are you guys curious?
If you want to get rich, stop thinking about money. Start thinking about delivering value. I really like that. I really love that, actually. Right? Yeah. So we get caught up. I always tell folks, especially people that leaders or young leaders or early, kind of leaders that are just starting off. Don't focus on the prize, right? And oftentimes it's like, all right, they got into a leadership role or they've been a leader and they're trying to get promoted, trying to get to the next level. And they focus on trying to get to that thing, right? Or that destination versus focusing on the journey along the way. Yeah. And I see this in very much the same respect. And the same thing with individuals, like people, right? Like people want to get rich, right? They want to go out there and so they focus on like that. It's the pile of money, right? And at the end of the rainbow, so to speak, and that's what you focus on.
Yeah, like Donald Duck.
Yeah, right. Or like DuckTales.
Yeah,
we're swimming in like the coins, the vaults of all those coins, right? So which would hurt if you actually did that. But you focus on that versus and oftentimes people fail. Yeah. Right. Go ahead.
But
sorry.
no, I mean, I was thinking just a totally different scenario of the same situation though. Even like when I'm teaching yoga, like I talk about this, like, you know, whatever the pose is, like somebody's like, oh, that's my goal, and I'm like, well, great, I love that that's your goal, but like the enjoyment actually comes from getting it. It's not like having it and being like, oh, I'm in.
Yeah.
You know,
because if someone gave you like, you know,
Headstand,
like
whatever.
a brand new Ferrari, for example, right? You'd like it, you enjoy it.
Oh yeah.
But putting yourself in a spot where you actually earned it, right?
Gosh.
Like where you're able to buy it yourself, that's a whole different feeling.
It's a different level.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're actually going to appreciate that a lot more than when someone has given it to you. You see that all the time.
I totally agree with that.
I love this thought about, you know, it focusing on not so much the end result, right? But focusing more on the journey. And more importantly though, it's focused on delivering that value.
Yes.
Right? So like, whether you're getting promoted or you're trying to run your business or you're trying to improve, like think about adding out value towards others.
Yes.
Right? Because that's the thing that's going to, well, one, it'll increase your odds of either getting promoted and be successful.
That's true.
But it's also going to attract people to you
100%.
that want to help you, frankly. Right?
Yeah. More people will lift each other up, and then through
you
that,
lift others up.
The tide rises and falls together.
Yeah, exactly right. So I thought that was pretty awesome. So
no, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
So let's talk about our 4 takeaways.
So the 4 takeaways is what we want you to walk away with.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more that we're
so much
cover
more. Like I can't even wait.
Sessions.
Like honestly, I think I could probably just continue to talk about this. Will's like, you know, we've got to have bite-sized compartments here.
Because we can be here for hours.
So I promise there's more to come here.
Hours.
Yeah.
All right. So the first is you are the answer. Right? You're the problem and you are the answer. So you have to focus on you.
Let's keep it positive. So you are the answer.
You are the answer.
Don't be the problem.
So that's the first one. The second one is you got to know your why.
Yes.
Right?
And I would say not your surface level why. Not like,
yeah, why are you doing it? Right? Is it for your family?
Yeah. But,
is it for like
but why?
breaking generational kind of like baggage?
Yeah.
What's your why? What's your why? The third one is seek mentors.
Oh, yes.
Right?
So, you know, look, like we said, like we've got tons of them both in person, but also that we follow, whether it's books or podcasts. If there's anything that we can help you with, if there's something specific that you're, you know, kind of seeking to learn,
reach out.
Yeah, like
hey, hit the comments on you know, on
definitely.
YouTube. Check us out on Facebook, but like all of those, like we'd love to help because we can hope if we can help you in any way and be your mentors, we'd love to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
And then the fourth, but not, you know, like last and not least, but the fourth is deliver value.
Yes.
Right? Put yourself in a situation where you're delivering value towards others, and trust me, it'll feel not just feel better, but you'll be much more successful.
I totally agree with that. Yeah.
Right.
So again, we want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with us.
Thanks for letting me kind of participate today, right?
You're welcome. Thanks for staying on your best behavior. I will invite you back. So we'll, like we said, we'll continue to kind of dive a little bit deeper into the Rise conference that we went to in
October?
Yeah.
November. Sorry.
November?
Yeah,
okay.
November.
Okay. And if you haven't done so already, make sure that you're liking us on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube
definitely.
Obviously.
And please hit the
share and hit the little
bell,
subscribe so that we can see every time we have
check us out.
New posting.
Exactly.
Because you never know what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always going to be something fun, something to do that make us better.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks so much. We appreciate you.
Thanks for joining.
Thanks for hanging out with me, Will.
You're welcome. Bye, guys.
Bye.